What's up guys, it's Tommy here and welcome to a very exciting new Liverpool transfer news video because Liverpool are in talks with Dean Huijsen, who is labeled the next Van Dijk, and there is a big hint that Liverpool are edging closer towards completing this transfer, so all will be revealed in this video, and we will also compare Konate and Dean Huijsen. If Dean Huijsen signs, will he be good enough to replace Konate in the starting lineup? And Konate's future is also up in the air with his contract talks, at the moment on hold. But Liverpool are stepping up their pursuit for Dean Huijsen, and many top clubs, including Chelsea, Arsenal, and even Real Madrid, are monitoring him. But according to the Team Talk news outlet, Arne Slot's side have received a major boost in their pursuit of Dean Huijsen, because it looks like the Bournemouth are going to sign Dean Huijsen's replacement, and that is FC Lugano's Albion Haidari, who could be a possible replacement for Dean Huijsen. He's a 21-year-old Swiss centre-back, and his contract includes a very low, like £4.2 million release clause, and Dean Huijsen would be an absolutely ideal centre-back for Liverpool because of how well he can progress the ball playing out from the back, and we saw that Arne Slot absolutely loves those type of players. I mean, he played Ryan Gravenberch at centre-back instead of Kwanzaa because Ryan Gravenberch is much better at progressing the ball out from the back, and he's much better on the ball, passing and dribbling with the ball than Jero Kwanzaa is. And Liverpool are favourites, according to recent reports, to sign Dean Huijsen, and Liverpool will be encouraged to hear that Bournemouth are already planning for life after Dean Huijsen, and this talk of them signing a Swiss centre-back is very encouraging news. And also Bournemouth's interested in Inter defender Jan Bissek as well. Bournemouth are ready, Inter are ready to sell him at the right price. And Haidari is seen as a very smart investment potentially by Bournemouth because of his very low release clause. And Huijsen is excellent with the ball at his feet, he's calm under pressure, and he's capable of building from the back, which absolutely fits Arne Slot's vision and Liverpool's playing style. So Dean Huijsen could act as a potential long-term replacement of Virgil van Dijk, and I think this is an ideal scenario because I think Konate and Van Dijk will be Liverpool's starting centre-back pairing next season. But anytime Konate needs a rest or Van Dijk needs the rest, Dean Huijsen can play, and he can play in the cups as well. Maybe not in the Champions League, but League Cup, FA Cup. And Dean Huijsen can have 2 years to learn from Van Dijk, to absorb all of this knowledge that he would get from watching Van Dijk in training and in games. And in 2 years' time, when maybe Van Dijk leaves, Dean Huijsen could step in his shoes. And this shows a long-term approach for Liverpool in the transfer market, which worked so well with many players. And alongside Huijsen, Liverpool are also looking to sign a left back. Milos Kerkez is the favorite, and they also are looking to sign a striker at the moment. Hugo Ekitike is the player mentioned by the most people. David Ornstein, a journalist, has provided an update on this as well, because he said that the reality is that Dean Huijsen has not made the decision yet where he goes. Huijsen is speaking to all of the clubs, Chelsea, Liverpool, Arsenal. He's speaking to Chelsea for sure, David Ornstein said, and he's a very reliable journalist. And he said, I told you in January how Chelsea wanted Huijsen, but for Bournemouth, a winter sale was impossible, and also because the release clause was not valid in January. Now it is valid, and that's £50 million. And so Chelsea will be there, Liverpool will be there, because Liverpool's interest is really genuine. Liverpool want Huijsen, but this is not new. Liverpool have wanted Huijsen for most of the season. This is something which started in January, February. So yeah, Liverpool started their interest in January when we thought Huijsen would be a really good signing, and he had a great season at Bournemouth. Don't forget about Arsenal. Arsenal are also pushing for Huijsen. Arteta wants one more top defender to add to the package. I mean, how many defenders do Arsenal need? They keep signing defenders and they wonder why they aren't winning the Premier League title. They scored almost 20 goals less than Liverpool, and they don't sign a striker, not even in January. That doesn't make sense to me. But yeah, Ornstein claims that Real Madrid appeal the most to Huijsen, but it remains to be seen whether Real Madrid really want to go after a young centre-back and to spend big money on a young centre-back, because they have Raul Asensio, a youth academy player coming through at Real Madrid. The most likely scenario is Dean Huijsen goes to another Premier League club, and I think if it's a straight race between Chelsea, Arsenal and Liverpool, I'm a Liverpool fan, but I don't think I'm biased when I say Huijsen would most likely choose Liverpool, because it's just the best project right now. It's why so many clubs are looking at signing him and activating a £50 million release clause that represents pretty good value for money. Yes, on the Premier League market, for a already established Premier League centre-back who is only 20 years old with incredibly high potential, I think that's a relatively good value for money deal. David Ornstein said, leading the chase in alphabetical order is Arsenal, Chelsea and Liverpool. There are others in the frame such as Newcastle and Tottenham, but they don't really have a realistic chance when those big clubs are knocking about as well. I think it's Real Madrid who have always appealed most to Dean Huijsen himself, but at the time of recording I'm not aware of them being in a position to proceed with it. And both Bournemouth and the player would like this transfer to be wrapped up relatively swiftly so they can look for replacements. So right now, as things stand, that would see the Premier League as his most likely destination, and it's just a big question which club he goes to. Also, just a few words on Albion Haidari, the potential player replacing Dean Huijsen at Bournemouth. So he was born in Switzerland. I think he is from Albania or something like that because of his name. Probably he has some roots in the Balkans, and the Swiss-born centre-back was owned by Juventus between 2020 and 2023, and he was developing in his homeland in Basel, and then Haidari was in Juventus limbo until they loaned him out to Lugano, and then he made the move permanent. And he's also a left-footed centre-back. Haidari is composed in possession, he is also strong in duels, and he doesn't panic, and he's only like 20 years old, but yeah, that he's much more behind his development than Dean Huijsen. But for 4.2 million, it's not a big risk for Bournemouth, because that's not a big money transfer for a club like Bournemouth. And Haidari already played for Lugano in the Conference League as well, but he got a red card in the process of Lugano being eliminated by the big underdogs Celje from Slovenia. But the Anfield Index news outlet writes that Liverpool needs to prioritize Konaté's contract extension over signing Dean Huijsen, and I kind of agree with it. So first we should extend the contracts of Konaté, but we also need to prepare in a scenario where Konaté runs down his contract and wants to leave on a free transfer. Then we definitely need to sign a centre-back sooner or later. So securing Ibrahima Konaté's new long-term contract must take precedence. But that doesn't stop Liverpool from negotiating with Dean Huijsen as well. And Dean Huijsen absolutely is marvelous with both of his feet with the ball, which is very rare, that he could play in Konaté's position and in Van Dijk's position, so either right-sided or the left-sided centre-back position. He could play both, not at the same time of course, but it's very good that you have a centre-back who could replace either of those players if they need to get a rest or if any of them get injured. And Huijsen combines physicality with elegance, launching passes from deep areas and stepping into midfield like a seasoned quarterback. And Konaté is 25 years old. He's entering the prime years of his career, so it's absolutely crucial for Liverpool to secure his services, and replacing Konaté would cost 50, 60, 70 million pounds, a lot. So Liverpool's defensive rebuild should not start with replacing too many players. We should keep Konaté like we kept Van Dijk as well, and securing Konaté to a new contract is not just wise, it is essential. allowing his situation to drift, risks not only unsettling the squad but inviting opportunistic clubs getting into Konaté's ear and saying, just run down your contract and we will pay big money to you in your pocket instead of to Liverpool. Should Liverpool move for Dean Huijsen, it would represent a very good investment in the club's medium to long-term future. Joe Gomez is often injured and Jero Kwanzaa, he's promising, but he carries the uncertain burden of youth. And the big question is, will Jero Kwanzaa reach an elite level at Liverpool? And the way Arne Slot likes to play, he likes his centre-backs to bring the ball out from the back, to launch long and short passes into midfield and into the attackers. And Jero Kwanzaa is not ready to do that. He doesn't have the passing qualities to do that just yet. So Huijsen feels like a natural evolution, a player that Liverpool can rotate, he can learn, and he can eventually lead the back line in years to come. But the competition is fierce. When Chelsea are knocking about, they have a lot of money to spend, and they can offer like ridiculous amounts of wages. When Chelsea went for Caicedo and Lavia, in the end Liverpool missed out on both of them. And I don't mind Lavia, he just played 15 games for Chelsea, only started 9 games in the Premier League, but he was substituted a lot of times even as a starter, and he had a lot of injury problems. Caicedo had a good season, but he will stand guard of honor for Liverpool at Stamford Bridge, because Liverpool are Premier League champions. So I think Liverpool can be the happiest because we didn't waste 115, 120 million on Caicedo. We signed McAllister, Gravenberch and Szoboszlai instead, and that midfield won the league. I can't complain. And here is the chart. Dean Huijsen is the red part of this chart, comparing him to Ibrahima Konaté, who is the blue part of his chart. And as you can see, in terms of passes attempted, pass completion rate, and also percentage of aerial duels won, percentage of dribblers tackled, Konaté is better. And Konaté is better in assists as well. But what shocks me is in every other metric, Dean Huijsen is better than Konaté, which is pretty amazing. Then in terms of tackles and interceptions, blocks, clearances, non-penalty goals, expected assists, shot creating actions, progressive passes, progressive carries, even in touches and progressive passes received, Dean Huijsen is better than Konaté in terms of, comparing them. Konaté is still very, very good, don't get me wrong, but his ball distribution is not as good as Dean Huijsen, and his passing is not as good as Dean Huijsen. And smart squad planning will define this summer for Liverpool, because especially the backline requires nuanced thought, and Konaté's new deal would send a clear signal that Liverpool reward excellence, loyalty and proven pedigree. We already have showed that with offering new contracts to Van Dijk and Salah as well. But there is a possibility that Huijsen could choose Chelsea, because he would immediately start there. He wouldn't be on the bench like at Arsenal or at Liverpool. And he also gets a long contract with big wages, so financial security as well. But Chelsea is a circus, as you could see. They have some absolute clowns in the boardroom who are just throwing money at the squad constantly and just hoping that something sticks. And I think Liverpool is a much better and much more stable project. But maybe Huijsen will be seduced by Chelsea. We don't know yet about that. Let's see what happens. But Jero Kwanzaa isn't the player that Arne Slot trusts 100%. That's pretty clear. And Joe Gomez's injury record means he simply cannot be relied on. So Liverpool have Van Dijk and Konaté for next season, but we need another centre-back. And I wouldn't be against selling Joe Gomez and giving him a chance to be a regular starter at a club like Newcastle or even Bournemouth. And we cannot let Konaté run down his contract and leave for free, because he is worth 60-70 million pounds in my opinion at 25 years old. If he had a 3-4 year contract, so maybe right now he's worth like 40-50 million with 1 year left on his contract. But yeah, Liverpool definitely should extend Konaté's contract. Arne Slot could rotate his defensive options next season, but he's not that kind of manager, and especially at centre-back, managers rarely rotate. If your two first-choice centre-backs are available, they would play every game in the Premier League if they are available, because it's crucial that you form a partnership with your centre-back partner. And even last week, Arne Slot said that he's not a big fan of squad rotation all the time. There's a lot of research done about the longer the team plays together, the better they start to play, or the more often they play together, the better they play as well. That's why I'm not a big fan of rotating the team every game by 5, 6 or 7 positions. And of course you can rotate in 2 or 3 positions, not too much, and that works still. And Arne Slot prefers a back 4 with 2 more traditional fullbacks. Maybe we will move away from the inverted right back position that Trent Alexander-Arnold plays sometimes. Conor Bradley and Milos Kerkez, I think, would be a great fullback partnership next season. For example, Arsenal and Man City sometimes asks centre-backs to play in wide positions or to push forward and operate as quasi midfielders, but that's not a style or a tactic that Arne Slot really likes or uses that much. Of course, when Liverpool have been training, sometimes we could see Ryan Gravenberch playing at centre-back and providing the link between defense and midfield. But the performances of Van Dijk and Konate means that Liverpool can be in a very secure position next season if we keep Konate for next season, and other areas are a bigger priority, like signing a striker, signing a left back, signing a right back as well if Trent Alexander-Arnold leaves. But if reports are to be believed, Huijsen's transfer is seen as essential. So Liverpool fans may not like the answer of why. And that could be because maybe Konate is leaving. Hopefully he will sign a new contract. David Ornstein said that Liverpool feel Dean Huijsen could really add to the squad. We know that a left back is on the agenda for Liverpool. Milos Kerkez is one of the players that they are looking at, and they won't be the only club. Right back will be interesting, because Liverpool don't necessarily have that as high a priority as left back. But if and when Trent Alexander-Arnold leaves, you do see the Conor Bradley injury situation, and think to yourself, maybe if there is an opportunity to add depth there, then Liverpool will. And then there's the centre-back position. We know that Liverpool are firm admirers of Dean Huijsen, and that's one they are in a strong position on. The attraction of playing regularly alongside Van Dijk and under a Dutch coach in Arne Slot, because Dean Huijsen comes from a Dutch background, even though he plays for Spain. So it will be fascinating to see which way they go, because there is actually a lot to do for Liverpool in the transfer market. Dean Huijsen said, "I feel Spanish. Spain is my home. If Spain doesn't call me up, I will continue to be Spanish. And if they don't call me up in the next 20 years, I will continue to be Spanish. I don't care." Apparently it was meant to be that I got to make my debut for Spain against the Netherlands. It was a weird coincidence that Dean Huijsen, who has Dutch backgrounds as well, I think some of his family are from the Netherlands, he made his debut against the Netherlands for Spain. That was quite interesting. So yeah, let me know what you think about this story. Do you think Liverpool will extend the contract of Konate? Do you think we should sign Dean Huijsen? Leave your thoughts down below, and thanks for watching. Have a nice day. See you later, guys. Goodbye.